a video on this tin of spinach. So I bought this tin of spinach while I was in the supermarket, and it was only 25p, or is it? Yeah, I'm sure it was 25p. I think I can buy 5 for £1 now. They're on special offer. They're probably just about to go out of date. I bought it out of interest. I didn't think I was going to use it, but I've got a function coming up where I need to make a no, it's not Egyptian. It's a wild greens kind of tart, like the type that you get in Greece. So I was kind of thinking, well, I could just buy spinach and cook it down. But I thought, well, I've got this tin in the cupboard, so we might be able to use this. I don't know what it's going to taste like. I remember my parents years ago talking about buying some tin spinach and it being absolutely disgusting. That will be 40 years ago. I hope that in these last 40 years, tin spinach has become a lot better tasting than it was 40 years ago. I hope it has, but we never know. So there's no point me buying any more of these tins if it's going to be disgusting. So we might as well taste it. My options are buying fresh spinach, cooking it down, squeezing all the juice out of it, or buying frozen spinach, don't know what that is, frozen spinach and squeezing and kind of using that. But if I can buy something that's cheaper, that's suitable, that tastes nice, then we might as well do it. So we always recycle, so we always cut these off the outside before we start emptying them. So it is a wrinkle, so it doesn't look too bad. Maybe a slightly bit overcooked, slight bit maybe. It certainly smells like spinach, but let's just give it a, let's get it out to the plate, or some of it out to a plate, and we'll give it a taste, and then we'll see if we can use it. Because I think there's always the, looks a bit slimy actually, there's always the, you don't, if you haven't got that much money to spend, I think there's always a danger that you're very reluctant to buy something which might save you a bit of money in the long run, but you don't want to risk spending the money in case it's a waste of money. So if I can just buy something like this and do a little bit of a product taster review, then it might just help someone out thinking, oh, there's no point buying tin spinach because it's disgusting. I might as well stick with fresh or frozen. So, what does it taste like? Tastes a bit like wild greens actually. Got a little bit of a spinach flavour to it, but not that much. So, what we're going to do with this, we're going to tip it out and see how much spinach we get for the money. We'll give it, so we'll tip it out, we'll give it a good squeeze in a cloth, and we'll see how much we get for the money. But I'll do that off camera because otherwise the video will be a little bit too long, won't it? Right, I've squeezed the excess juice out of it, so most of that can was just liquid. Oh yeah, so if you're going to use cloth for straining anything or squeezing things out, it's got to be clean, but also you've got to rinse it in hot water. Once you've washed it and dried it and it's clean, you need to get rid of that washing powder taste out of it as well. You can't be guaranteed that that's going to happen because a lot of washing powders have a scent to them. So if you're going to be using a cloth to dry to remove the excess moisture, you need to kind of wash that taste and smell of washing powder out of them as well. I don't know if people kind of realise that, but it does. It will make things taste funny. But that was a little bit by the by. So we'll squeeze out the excess liquid from that, and we're left with about 84 grams, which on here, I don't know if the camera isn't focusing or it's my eyes that aren't focusing on the camera, so I can't really tell anymore because I need glasses, but I've got glasses, so I don't need glasses. I've already got them, but if I'm not wearing them, I need to put my glasses on. So it says 265 grams from a 380 gram jar. That's not the case. Once you've squeezed all the excess juice out of it, there's actually about 85 grams, depending on how much liquid you can squeeze out of it. So that will also affect the flavour, that we are squeezing out the liquid, but we're also kind of squeezing out the flavour as well. So how's it taste? Not bad actually. Slightly overcooked in flavour. Slightly overcooked. But that's, of course that's going to happen when you can something. It's going to overcook like most things. So I reckon you can buy 900 grams worth of frozen spinach for about £1.65. So, and I don't know how much liquid you'd squeeze out of that. I think it's probably about, once you've squeezed the liquid out of the frozen spinach, I'll check in the supermarket, I'll buy some. But once you've squeezed the liquid out of the frozen spinach, I think it'll probably work out the same kind of cost as the frozen spinach, as these cheap kind of tins of spinach. But it's only cheap because it's a date, mate. It'll be going out of date, that's why it's cheap in the supermarket. Doesn't say. Oh no, it'll be on the lid. No, is it on the bottom? There we go. Need my glasses. I'll just pull it further away. 31st to the 5th, 2024. So it's a couple of days out of date, that's why it's cheap. So if you can find it cheap, it's kind of worth having, but probably best off to buy the frozen stuff. Fresh is even more expensive, but the frozen stuff, you get more for your money. And now it's just up to me to decide if I'm going to buy some tins of that, or if I'm going to buy frozen spinach from the supermarket. I'll probably buy frozen spinach. I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll buy some frozen spinach, and we'll tack on the end of the video how much liquid we get out of some frozen spinach and how much we're actually left with, and then we'll be able to do a proper comparison. But obviously the cheapest thing to do is to go out and pick some wild greens yourself, like some nettles and some dandelions and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, we're back with the weight of the squeezed out frozen spinach, and then we'll be able to do a proper comparison, won't we? I bought some frozen spinach. It comes in little things like that. So there is 18 of those in that 700 gram packet, and it was £1 was that packet. So I've taken 2 and I squeezed the juice out of it, and there's 24 grams there. So I kind of did a rough calculation, and if I was to spend £1 on 4 tins of, I'll do the calculation in the description, but if I was to spend £1 on 4 tins, I'd get 100 grams more worth of spinach once you've squeezed all the juice out of it. So that's how it is. So if you can buy the tins cheap, you get more out of a tin than you do, as long as it's the right price. It's going to be better to do it that way. Now we kind of lose kind of flavour, we lose colour, so you can tell the colour differences, you know, in those two. That's bright and vibrant, that's a little bit dull, but depending on what we're using things for, I don't think you kind of pick and choose what you've got. So let's actually turn these and this into some spinach soup. So we've got some onions in there and some liquid and a stock cube. So let's turn it all into some soup. While we're here, I might as well have spinach soup for my lunch. So not a recipe, more of a, let's just, see, that's the juice that I pulled out of the spinach. We might as well put that in as well. And then we'll just get the hand blender in there, and we'll blend it down, and we'll see how it turns out. It'll need a bit of milk in there. Let's just pause and get rid of that spinach into the freezer. Right, so we've got some milk out. The cable's never long enough on these things. I don't want to get the extension cord out, so turn the gas off and puree on the cooker's a bit dirty. This looks terrible. I better boil some water. I'm going to need more liquid than that. Right, I have added more hot water and a little bit of salt, and let's just add some milk just to improve its colour. Doesn't look very appetising. I would not be getting any awards for the colour of that soup, in all honesty, but it's what's inside that counts, and it's much more important that it tastes nice rather than looks nice. Pretty good is that, actually. It's pretty good is that. Just need to turn my fried bread down. So salt and pepper, a little bit more salt. So just an onion, stock cube, and then let's say 100 grams worth of squeezed out weight worth of spinach, and then liquid and milk just to get it to a nice consistency. And that's how you make spinach soup. Use vegetable stock if you are vegetarian. However, I find with vegetable stock cubes that the food that you're cooking ends up tasting of the vegetable stock cube, whereas something like a chicken stock cube is it's kind of quite neutral in flavour. So chicken stock cubes don't particularly taste of chicken, in more they are salty and umami in flavour. So, but anyway, so it looks like I'll be buying tins of spinach for this function that I need to do in the future. So it's interesting to me, therefore a success.